Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever video episode of Roaring Twenties. Today I have one of my wittiest friends on board, Neeharika Poduri. Hi Neeharika.
Hi, Chitra.
Yes,
Hi,
yes.
everyone.
Yeah, so today both of us are here to talk about one of the wildest topics that has taken Gen Z by storm, which is, as the title suggests, situationships. A topic which did not even exist about 100 years ago. If we look at the old roaring 20s, dating was a concept that was just gaining prominence in the Western world. It was fun, glamorous, and full of entertainment. Couples could just go out in the open. They could go wild at parties that only Jay Gatsby could throw. They could go out drinking and dance like there's no tomorrow. Of course, in a country like India, that such a scenario did not exist at all. A lot of people thought dating was a huge taboo and arranged marriages were the norm. In fact, a lot of people did not even know that dating करके कोई concept भी था. So people would get very less offended if they were asked to share their organs to an illegal organ donation camp, but they would like literally go ballistic if somebody asked for their daughter's hand and that somebody did not come from the same caste, religion, or linguistic community. In the 2020s world, dating has now become a very fluid concept. Across the globe, you have friendships with benefits, you have relationships, you have situationships, which we are going to talk about now, and many other types of ships that we and our next door neighbors are trying to figure out. And if you're from India, arranged marriages are still there in this entire khichdi too. But situationships have soon started getting more prominence. And today, both of us are going to try and tackle this entire confusing maze of a topic. So, Niharika, what are your thoughts about situationships?
Thank you, Chitra, for having me. This is the most important topic which is running everywhere, like in be it social media, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, everywhere. First of all, relationship itself is a big question mark for all of us. Now comes situationships, which is neither a romantic relationships
Yeah,
nor a committed relationship. I
agreed.
actually do not know how to put a perfect definition to all of this. So I feel it is maybe based on convenience or like short term
Hmm.
circumstances, but that doesn't mean that situationship doesn't even have some meaning at all, or
Hmm.
is very unlike a regular relationship that
Yeah,
may or may not have an emotional connection.
yeah.
And I also believe and seen that most of these situationships involve from some form or other form of physical intimacy. But
Hmm.
also, they are generally more than the casual sexual encounter that you keep having in
Yeah,
your dating life.
yeah.
And
That's true.
unlike friends with benefits, where both parties agree to develop feelings, the boundaries
Yeah,
of a situationship are usually very lessly clear, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I feel that one or both the partners might be wanting to see the relationship, and the other
Progress.
person and the other person has no clue nor wants to progress somewhere.
I know, I totally get that. And it's like the weirdest Venn diagram that is there because we really don't know what's going on. So it's like at one side, if we look at it, it gives you the comfort of a normal, cozy relationship without the intense jhanjat mari and all of that. But at the same time, you are not really sure about what you really want. Like it's so hard to define. Like it's just like, you are talking, you are sending each other memes, and you are going out with each other. And then, you feel like, okay, there is something, but you're not sure what that something really is. And you want to ask the other person that, listen, do you have something serious for me, or are you just essay messing around and all? And then the other person is also not going to take up the first move because that person was also
Exactly.
saying the same thing. So it's like you don't want to lose that companionship, but at the same time, you also want it to progress. So it's kind of like what we normally say in Hindi, na ghar ka na ghat ka. So
So true. So true.
that's true. And nowadays, though, it has become such a sociological and psychological phenomena that it's like in Google, got the all-time high search traffic this year. Like literally, it is so crazy. And a lot of researchers feel that it's like Gen Z's way of being more practical about relationships, because we've seen the previous generations go through a lot and they've been pedophiled in a lot of ways. Like arranged marriages, so obviously in India, it's like it's got its own complicated history. And
Tell me about
then
it.
yes, and then there is this whole concept of, love marriages, which also has like such a difficult scenario, especially in a country like ours, where the only sort of norm is just somebody, you should marry somebody who's from your caste, who's from your community, who's from your linguistic background, and of course, like then comes the whole financial parity and all of that. But it's
True.
like that person should be close to someone from your ethnic background, and agar usse bahar slightly bhi jayega, so then people will throw a fit. Like suppose, even for example, something as very 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 blurred as somebody from like somebody who's a Tulu speaker versus a Kannada speaker, like people will still throw a fit, like why are you even doing that karke, even though both
Yeah.
of them come from the same state. It's such a it's like a set of rules that we have to follow, and now the younger generation is breaking that, and Gen Z though especially is like taking it to a different level altogether.
And exactly, that is the very main concept of situationships. Like there's a lack of consistency in situationships. Matlab
Yeah.
with relationship, the meeting frequencies is more
Hmm.
than regular. Like you try to
Yeah.
catch up over time and everything. But in
Yeah.
situationships, it is like you might meet very sporadically, like over like weeks or like something. And
Yeah.
sometimes you suddenly do not hear from the person you have been like seeing them
Exactly.
from weeks, which is
Yeah.
so scary. And
Yeah.
you and I also heard from some of my friends that you sometimes do not feel emotionally connected to that person.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
they describe the situation ship to be more superficial than
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
that.
And I
So
totally get that. So this is from my personal example, which is probably going to give some of my relatives listening to this podcast a minor heart attack. But so there was there was a friend of mine, and I used to never be able to understand whether that friend was interested in me, or whether that person was just, like using me as a item on a buffet till that person found a proper uh, match or whatever. And I used to always keep wondering ki iska intention kya hai, and he would just disappear sometimes, and then he'll just pop up essay, sending me memes and all, and I'll be like, bhai tu matlab what do you want
exactly.
karke?
है
हाँ.
क्या तू?
And I, for that matter, did not have any romantic feelings or anything. But then I would just wonder, ki, like, are you really using me as a lab rat so that, you can learn how to behave in a proper relationship? If that's so, then that's like a very mean way of using our friendship, to be very frank. And I don't even know if I can call this a situationship. That's how convoluted that whole sphere is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are so many other examples, like you never know how you will land up in a situation. Like, for example, you're traveling abroad or
Yeah.
you're studying in some place and you eventually
Hmm.
plan to leave. So you like temporarily kuch kar lete hain without the actual intention of starting something serious or
Yeah.
something. So that might land you in a situationship. The other reason, potential reason of
Hmm.
situationship could be a recent breakup. Like, for
Oh God.
example, you have a partner which
Yeah.
you're currently seeing, and he might have come out of a recent breakup. So then he would just have ended a long-term relationship, and the timing would not be right for him to commit. So you
Yeah.
are the one who are like just looking at a low-hanging fruit, but you never get to taste that.
Yeah, it's like you are praying that you are as lucky as Haley Bieber after, Justin Bieber ended things with Selena. Or
So true.
yeah, or like that's like a very this thing, like किस्मत अच्छी हो तो हेली जैसी हो, नहीं तो तुम्हारा भी तुम भी पिटोगे करके, in the worst way
Yeah,
possible.
exactly,
you'll be
exactly.
you'll be the casualty in the entire thing, because there is this entire like set of toxicity that the couple is going through, and you are at the receiving end of it, and you are the innocent party in this entire thing. And
Agree.
sometimes, do you really wonder whether these situationships have any benefits to our current this thing? Like, do you think there are any pros to this kind of a lifestyle?
I think situationships do help you to understand if you can get into a serious relationship or something.
Yeah.
I completely do not deny the fact that there is a legitimate risk when you start doing it
Hmm.
casually. But I think it's one that you can probably take a
Hmm.
risk for, and it's worth taking if you actually envision a future with that person. Like
Agreed.
for the sake of your own mental health, you should
Hmm.
be as honest as possible with them to know about how you feel, and then see how
Yeah.
that person responds. And based on that, I think this will help you figure out if that person is actually right for you or not.
Yeah, and it's also like you said, it's like an opportunity for your own self growth to understand what you want in a relationship. So
True.
it's like, for example, if you use dating apps and all, and you like swipe right, like a lot of guys and whoever and all, and then you talk to a lot of people, and then you try to understand, is this person right for me? So I use very sporadically, I use dating apps like with full disclosure to my parents and everyone. So yeah, I use it. Sometimes even my grandmother also joins in. Like I tell her कि ये ठीक है क्या? Then I'll swipe left and then she's like, ये तो रणबीर कपूर दिखता है, वो तो तेरे को वैसे भी right swipe नहीं करता था. And then I will be like,
I
oh
do it to
God.
check out nice hot guys around me.
And the sad part is there are no nice hot guys anywhere.
So true.
It's like so wild. So it's like when I talk to all these guys, and there I'll find like out of 10 absolutely cheesy, absolutely annoying guys, I'll find only one decent fellow. It's that bad. And then they'll just use all sorts of pickup lines on you. And then I realized personally that I don't like guys like that. I don't want someone who'll buy me a teddy bear and be like, oh, you're so cute and all of that. Matlab, it's like
Very
I want,
cringe.
yeah, and you want something much more solid from, like, even from your situationship. You want somebody who's very stable and very clear also, and very clear about where they want to go. And in that regard, I feel the best kind of people are those who are very, uh, like very concise with what they are expecting. So then, like in Hinge, a couple of months ago, I met this guy who was in the same field that I was in, and I was not active on that app at all. And then this guy one day messages me. He's like, listen, I'm not looking for a serious relationship, but you're a very nice person and I hope you get what you're looking for, but let's not
What the
chat
hell?
any further. And then I was like, ठीक है चलो, at least he was honest करके. A lot of
True,
people तो
exactly.
कहीं से भी सटक जाते हैं and you have no idea what they can do. So
So that's
that,
the most important point. Like you should
yeah,
know what you want. So like
exactly.
your person should be mentally aware of what whether he's willing to accept and
Yeah,
why is he not willing to accept. So he has to understand whether a situationship is actually right for him or not. And it
yeah,
depends on a lot of factors like how you're brought up, what are your current needs and your long-term
yeah.
goals and your values and everything. So I think the person should know what he wants before getting
Yeah.
into a situationship.
Yeah, and it's also like in a way we can use this uncertainty in some ways. Like we can also understand intimacy without having the fear of getting committed
Exactly.
to that person. You can flirt, but you know that
Exactly.
it's not that serious. You can go out on a date, you know it's not that serious, and you know that was bande ka pura life is not going to hang all over you as an albatross around your neck or something like that.
Yeah.
You can just be like, okay, fine, you can do that. But then I feel like the cons come in when it starts getting dragged on for a very long time. And then you're like, where is this going? Like, why am I wasting my time?
Exactly.
And that's where it becomes, yeah. And what do you think are the other cons of situationship?
Cons, I think it'll lead to undue stress,
Oh
anxiety,
God. Yeah.
mental health issues.
Yeah.
I listen to your. I think if you're facing through that, I think people should listen to your previous podcast on anxiety.
Oh yeah.
One of the major reason, major issue with situationship is anxiety and stress.
Agreed.
Like if you do not know if you want more, you do not know if you're figured out, and
Hmm.
you like what I want this with this person, if I'm doing the right thing, and you started
Yeah.
doubting yourself, you started doubting your choices, and
Yeah.
I mean it's a very tricky business because you have to figure so many things out. So that is one of the
Agreed.
major cons I see in such
Yeah.
situationships.
Agreed, agreed. It's like you, after a point, you're like you have no control over how do you want to navigate your way through it, and that lack of control is what gives you anxiety. Like, how do I approach this the best? I don't want to break relationships with that person completely because I enjoy their company, but at the same time, you want them to tell you directly or indirectly what they want as well, and you don't want to force it out of them. You want to give them that agency to tell you that, and it's also like it's like a lottery system. Some 99% of the time it won't work, and 1% it would work, and then it'll be like, oh my god, it's working out well. So that is like a this thing, and it's also pretty bad because in some ways, because it's like sometimes you may the situationship may affect you in a way that your real relationships will be hampered. Like, agar if you are in a very intense situationship of sorts, and then that person, like disappears from your life, and then you are like, you have to or you want to be in a real relationship or get married and all of that. What if you can't let go of that situationship, and what if you are still hung on to that person? It's different from, loving someone and all. You love someone, you're very cognizant of the fact that you like that person. You didn't mind their flaws and all of that, and deep down when you genuinely love someone, you'll always appreciate them for who they are and what their flaws are. But in a situationship, you're like, "Ki matlab, was it love, was it nonsense? Can I really care about that
Exactly.
person?" Yeah.
And there is also this doubt to like doubt in people that even if it works for now, if you feel
Hmm.
something is right, it might not
Yeah.
work for you in few days, weeks, or
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
So you do not see the things materializing overnight in a situationship. Like
Agreed.
for example, for people believe that it's a non-threatening place to start with because you
Yeah.
do not have anything to commit for. But
Hmm.
over a period of time, you do not know. So I think that time communication really plays a major role. Like
Yeah.
I think people should, both the partners should keep the communication channels open, even if the
Yeah.
relationship is casual. Like if
Yeah.
you're unhappy, leaving things undefined or something, you shouldn't just assume that the other person is also
Yeah.
not aware of all of this, and he should be aware of
Yeah.
what you feel.
Agreed, agreed. And it's like, I personally feel like that way the two guys that I genuinely like from the bottom of my heart are good men that way, because they were very clear about what they wanted, and we
Exactly.
we were we were able to communicate, and I'll always have that way a very special place in my heart for those guys. I know my
True.
family will have a panic attack as I say this, but it's true. Like, I will always care about them in a very positive and a very healthy way. But for all the situationships and question marks, I'm like, "कि मतलब तुम कर क्या रहे हो करके?" And situationships are also very, I feel this is not related to what I just said before, but I just remembered. But situationships it's a bit riskier for girls, don't you think? Like, because for girls, it's like, we are at a very precarious position, unlike guys who can just be like Arjun Reddy or Kabir Singh and then just drink their way out of everything. Girls can't do that. They don't have that kind of luxury to wallow in their grief. They have to be very, they unfortunately have to just hold themselves back, and then just, wait for someone who's a very healthy sort of a love, or, unfortunate in India's case, have an arranged marriage to someone they don't like at all. So,
And that will put them in a place wherein they stop believing or trusting any person that they would see next. So they
exactly.
started having that doubt of trusting a person. Like, for example,
Hmm.
what if he turns out
Hmm.
to be the same guy
Yeah.
which I had been before? What
Yeah.
if this becomes as toxic or more toxic than I
Yeah.
was? Like, not
Yeah.
every girl is Preeti to tolerate all of
Of
the shit that
course.
Kabir Singh puts her through, right?
Of course not. A lot of
Very
girls
tough.
are like, a lot of girls will not face it also. And especially in today's day and age, when, you have like your own agency with your own job, and parents have also, in general, like in urban cities and all, have become
True.
more supportive. Of course, there are exceptions and all, but still, like that way, it is a very dicey this thing. And I keep, like, having said that, I keep hearing all these things, like there's something that my best friend's mom had once said to me, that एक लड़की की इज्जत is like a कांच का टुकड़ा, like अगर once it's broken it'll not yeah, because our society that way can be pretty unforgiving in that sense.
There's a similar scene in a Telugu movie as well, wherein
Yeah,
a girl undergoes a breakup. So the
yeah,
guy tries to convince her. So
yeah.
she throws a bowl, like she just trashes away the bowl. Then
Oh,
he's
Baba.
like, "Ha." So she's like, pick
Yeah.
up that, and try to join it together. And she's like, say sorry to the bowl. Did it come back? No, right? So
No,
it's
yeah.
like the girl's feeling is also like that. कि एक बार टूट जाए तो same तरह समेटता नहीं है वो.
Exactly, and it's so, and that's why this whole gondogol and this whole chaos of situationships becomes way worse, because we are like, is it really going to last? Is it really productive in the long run? And given how judgmental our society is, people will legit, like, seriously judge us for, being like, oh Baba, you are in a relationship, you are in a situationship, and all of that. And right now, like, a part of me, while I'm saying this out loud about my Thar desert level romantic history, I'm just wondering, like, there might be some relatives of mine back in Kerala whose names I have no idea of, and all, who'll be like, oh, ये कैसे बोल रही है, इसके माँ बाप कैसे हैं, and all of that. And it's
So true.
yeah, it's so this thing also, like, it's like you feel, oh shit, like, how do we really get out of this? Like, how do we really, what is the logical solution behind situationships? Like, how do we end it, or how do we take it to the next level? What do you feel? How's the right approach?
I think honesty is the best policy. Like when it
Yeah,
comes to breaking off a situationship or
yeah,
converting it to a relationship, I think honesty is the best thing you can do. Like
yeah,
if it isn't working for you, stand up for yourself by telling it your partner that you're moving on. If
yeah,
that's the same way goes to your partner as well. Like if he wants to
yeah,
get serious and you are not ready, it's the
yeah.
communication should happen. So
Hmm,
honestly, you should be able to talk to each other to understand like
hmm,
transparently like what you're actually looking at.
yeah,
Like if you can't do it in person, you can like how the guy informed you via text or over
yeah,
the phone or in
yeah,
person, you should
yeah,
try to do that. And for casual like बस बोल दो. Honestly,
yeah,
बस बोल दो. If you
yeah.
really feel, I mean, I know it would hurt either of the person. Like if he's
Hmm,
emotionally invested, then you would feel disappointed too that it is
hmm,
ending in this way. And
yeah.
consider, I think people should consider it as a opportunity. Like जैसे job में एक interview fail होता है, तुम दूसरा देखो ऐसे ही
Exactly.
समझ के
Yeah.
चलना. ये सब sentences जिसकी मुझे भी मेरे आंटी लोग बहुत डांटेंगे, but still
Huh.
this is like a new
Yeah.
opportunity. Like you learn something from that. You learn what is not working for you. So I think
Exactly.
people should look for signs, what the
Hmm.
other person is showing. So you
Yeah.
have to observe things like how he's behaving. Like, did
Hmm.
you do any mistake of not expressing yourself really
Yeah.
well or something which made the other person drift away from you? So
Hmm.
it opens your door for self analysis also. Like
Agreed.
you can
Yeah.
understand yourself, key what went wrong,
Hmm.
what was that I was putting pressure on
Hmm.
that person, or like
Yeah.
were my thoughts not very clear to
Hmm.
was I not good in communicating or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it opens lots of doors and all. I think communication and honesty is the key rule.
Definitely. And I also agree with you on the fact that, we should be very clear about, what our intentions are, because leading someone on unfairly is a very, very, very wrong thing. Because just because you want
True,
to lead someone on because you feel very validated that, okay, this
true.
person likes you, I mean, that's the cruelest thing you can ever do. And then there's this, I don't know, there's some Sufi poet or something, which one of my friends from my fellowship had told me about. And usme it was that poet said that ki jiska dil dukhana is the worst thing you can do to someone, because within every heart there's God, and if you hurt someone, you are hurting God, and that's like the most traumatic sort of pain you can inflict on anyone. So you shouldn't do it at all. And yeah, go ahead.
And I mean, you will have that guilt within yourself. Ki,
Hmm.
Arey, I shouldn't have done that. Like after a certain point in life, that will hit you back for sure.
Yeah. Of
in
course,
some
of
form
course.
or the other.
Yeah, of course, that's true. I've seen it happen with I've seen it happen personally also. Like I haven't been obviously the hurting party, kabhi when I haven't gotten the opportunity, but but yeah, like I've seen even with friends also, like their exes
Yeah,
and all. My friends, one of my friends' exes, he is like he told her, listen, we are breaking up and all, very clear cut he told her, and then he keeps coming back, okay, every now and then she is wondering, "Ki, why are you coming back? I'm not interested. क्यों आ रहा है फुकट में?" And then she
that's
sends
the most
screenshot.
toxic thing. That's the
Yeah,
most toxic thing a guy can do to you.
and then she sent screenshots of that guy in our group, and she's like, "अरे ये message वापस कर रहा है," and all. And then once, so that guy ended up messaging me also. He's like, "Why is she not picking up my calls?" And I was like, "Bro, मतलब तू लोग कितने साल पहले खत्म हो गया? Why would you ask me that? You are persona non grata. Like, how can you come like that?" And
Oh
yeah, I
God.
mean, I feel completely agree with you on that. Like, honesty is indeed the best policy we can have. And I also feel like there's this entire theory that somebody called Mel Robbins has come up with very recently. I don't know if it's her theory or if it's an existing theory. So it's called the let them theory. It's like, you tell,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you tell the other person what you feel and you take action, but at the same time, don't expect that person to respond to the way that you want them to respond to. Like all this
Let them be.
yeah, then this whole manifestation thing, it's like, people say, or you manifest that your partner will come to you like this and all of that, but let them is more realistic. It's like you let go of that whole, this thing, like that whole control of, the need to control the entire narrative. When you say that, okay, you know what, if this person wants to be with me, I'll tell them what I feel about them, but, uh, that person has to then take the action and see like where we really go in a very realistic manner. Yeah.
And I also suggest all the 20s, roaring 20s girls to recognize red flags very explicitly
Oh,
and
yes.
help yourself from falling into prey. I mean,
Yeah.
that can land you to similar situations. The
Yeah.
red flags are, trust me, very tempting and attractive,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
be mindful.
Yeah. And don't think that you can ever change a red flag person though, ever, because
True.
the red flag wala insan is going to be a walking, talking lal salam wala red flag for the rest of his life unless he chooses to change himself.
Exactly. So we should let him be.
Yeah, let him be and be whatever he wants to be, because it's like, it's kind of like what Gossip Girl में वो Chuck Bass के बारे में सब लोग बोलते हैं कि भाई he's so toxic and all of that. Have you seen Gossip Girl?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's he's so toxic, but the fact is, the only good thing that dude did was in season 5, he went to a therapist. And
True.
he went and worked on his red flags, and फिर वो थोड़ा सा marginally he became a decentish person. But the thing is कि उसकी जो item नहीं, sorry, I shouldn't say that, but his his wife, Blair Waldorf, so she was also not exactly a very green flag sort of a person. So दोनों एक दूसरे के साथ, they worked with each other, like they worked on themselves, they improved while they were not 100% perfect, but they still, got together by working on themselves and reaching at a point, where they were both in sync. And now,
So true.
one thing that I wanted to discuss before we end this amazing, fun episode is, what do we really want from a relationship? Like, what does Gen Z really expect?
Very tough. But I think there are too many expectations for sure. But
Yeah.
like the expectations can vary from person to person. Like for example, for me, the person should be honest enough, and I should
Hmm.
be. I mean, I should be able to express myself, and the other
Hmm.
person also should be equally able to emote himself. Like whatever he feels, he should be able to
Agree.
emote himself. So
Yeah.
I really like what Deepika Padukone said in one of her interview. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
only thing which attracts me in a guy is his emotional capabilities, like the
Hmm.
way he emotes himself. So that is
Yeah.
very important for a very healthy relationship. And the second thing, do not, I mean, don't take me wrong, I like Bollywood too much, so I'm taking
Yeah.
all these examples, and I love Karan Johar's show. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
in one of his episodes, Katrina Kaif also says that in
Oh.
a relationship you should be independent yourself. Like you should not
Mm-hmm.
depend on the other person for you to be happy. Like
Agreed.
you
Yeah.
should, you are responsible for your happiness. You are responsible for yourself. So you
Yeah.
shouldn't put too much pressure on the other person कि वो
To
अपना
make you
खुद का
happy.
भूल जाए and do that. So after a certain point of time, people can't do that. So it will
Exactly.
start fading away and you'll lose interest in the person and the
Hmm.
relationship slowly starts getting overwhelmed. I mean, it becomes overwhelming to both of
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
I think these are the things which I think people should start looking for in relationships. You
Yeah.
should feel independent and empowered in the
Hmm.
relationship you are. So for
That's
all of
true.
this, communication and honesty is the key. So
Yeah.
people should talk it out, and
Mm-hmm.
casual dating, chatting, वो सब चलता है. But at the end of the day, this is what you should look for your own mental
Yeah.
peace and
Yeah.
the other person's
Yeah.
happiness as well.
Definitely. It's like you need to have husbands like Ranveer Singh and Vicky Kaushal. Like definitely. Like those guys are the biggest green flag
तो अभी
examples.
मैं ऐसे गिर जाती हूँ बाजू like how it got fell.
Yeah, but it's like you want somebody who respects you and value you for who you are. And I feel in addition to that, there is this thing that I read. Actually didn't read it. I saw it on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. Usme the main protagonist's dad, he was like, you should not marry a person who will point upstairs and be like, and like let you suffer. You should marry someone who's willing to take a bullet for you. And you should marry
100%.
someone who you are also willing to take a bullet for. Like, it's like you
True.
should be have somebody who's there with you through thick and thin, and not just somebody who will just give you like toffees and teddy bears and
Exactly.
all those cheesy captions and all. Like, I personally feel that वो सब तुम दिखाने के लिए कर रहे हो दुनिया को. Like real relationships में you need something that's solid, and someone who gives your life in a way like a very positive meaning. But of course you're independent also, but you see that you can be your most vulnerable self with that person, and that person will not judge
True.
you for it. and
True.
and you have that kind of safe space to be yourself, to just like be your ugliest self also, not just be your prettiest self, because pretty banke bhi matlab kitna you can be, of course, anyway.
Exactly.
So that's like a very big thing also. Like I personally feel that, my future husband, boyfriend, or whatever should.
कुछ नया नाम आ जाएगा तब तक.
Oh
Like
God.
situationship. You might have
There
to
is,
call something else.
yeah, there is another thing called delusionship. Okay, now it's come up very recently.
Oh, we should
Yeah,
save it for another podcast.
God, yeah, that's true. It's like a very it's just keeps evolving and all, but at the end of the day you want something meaningful from it all.
Exactly, dude. So true. So true.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, this was probably one of the most fun episodes ever, and I genuinely want to thank you, like seriously, because I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun too.
I had lots of fun talking about the most favorite topic of all the Gen Zs out there, and
Yeah,
I think millennials too.
of course,
So,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
I hope I had lots of fun, and I hope to be
yeah.
back again on Roaring
Yes,
Twenties.
you will
And
be back
Chitra,
again.
kudos to you, Chitra, for doing an amazing job on Roaring Twenties. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's just like such an important thing for me right now. It's just to just express and just tell everyone what we are all going through. And it's not just like a platform for me, it's like a platform for you and anyone who has a very
True.
distinct voice. And of course, I definitely want you back on board because I know this is going to be a blast. And I do hope that our listeners also have enjoyed this entire episode. So yeah, I mean, this
Happy
is
situationships to all.
yes, happy
Hope you
situationships.
And hope you find a meaningful relationship out of your situation.
I know, and hope you find a very meaningful relationship and hope you live happily ever after in the most realistic way possible because all of this
Yeah.
fairy tale romance and all is khokla and it's a doglapan only. So Prince
Even
Charming dhoka hai.
if you find, you should tag Roaring Twenties Chitra
Yes,
in your
yes,
post.
yes, yes, definitely. Thanks everyone. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.